Hi everyone, in this video I'll give you some battery saving tips for iOS 7. Now, some of you may remember that I made some video guides for iOS 6. Now there's a lot of the information still applies in iOS 7, but there is one or two other new features in iOS 7 that might impact battery life and also data use as well. So I thought I would just basically rewrite a fresh video guide with the updated content. So first of all, if we go into settings, then into general, then into about, scroll down to the bottom, we'll see diagnostics and usage. If we go into here, we see two options. One is to automatically send and one is to don't send. Now basically what this does is, if you choose automatically send, I think it's roughly at midnight every day or every other day, your iPhone will automatically send information regarding errors in your diagnostics log and other usage of your phone to Apple, so they can improve their services and features. Now, if you have this switched on and it's sending information to Apple, it will use extra battery life. And another concern is it'll also use data as well. So if you're on a fairly small data package, this may be an issue. So from a data usage point of view, it's maybe recommended to choose don't send. And as I say, I always have mine on don't send anyhow. The next one is, if we go back into the main settings, scroll down onto privacy, location services. Now in this section it'll list all of your apps that are allowed to use the GPS of your iPhone. I basically just only have the ones on that I really actually need, and even ones that I really actually need, they're not getting used constantly because it's not every day that I use those apps. The only app that I really use on a regular basis is Endomondo, which is a fitness app, and if I'm out doing walking or running or whatever, it tracks how far I've walked or ran, and obviously when I'm using this app the GPS is running all the time, but once you've come out of that app, the GPS should switch off. So in this basically is just a section to tell you what apps can use the GPS. You'll also notice as well, when you are using an app that uses GPS, that you'll get a little, I think it looks like a little paper aeroplane, a little symbol up next to the battery percentage on the top right of your screen. And I think it's purple when you've got an app that's currently using GPS. And as you can see, Siri has used the GPS within the last 24 hours. But if Siri was still using GPS, it would be purple rather than the grey colour of the little paper aeroplane symbol. So this section is where you can see what apps are and what apps aren't allowed to use GPS. So it's worth having a look in there if you're having battery issues. Now right at the bottom here we can see system services. Now I choose to have all of these switched off because basically a lot of these do use GPS either quite often or all the time, and it's pointless having something switched on that you don't need as well. As far as compass caliber, I'll go through the various settings that are listed in this section. Compass calibration, I think it uses the GPS of your phone to determine your location, and obviously if you use this quite often, it would use GPS and it would use a bit of battery. The diagnostics and usage, I think that's basically going back to the option that I described earlier about sending information back to Apple. Location-based iAds. Now, you may notice on some free apps you get little advertisements coming up along the bottom of the screen or along the top of the screen. Now, if you have location-based iAds switched on, it'll give you more localized targeted iAds, say for perhaps local businesses, things like that. Mobile network search. I'm not quite sure about this as I've never used it, but I can imagine it would use your GPS to determine the country that you were in, and from there the network that you would be able to go on. So again, if it's using the GPS, it would eat your battery. Now, this is one of the new settings that's been put onto this section with iOS 7, and it's called Popular Near Me. Now, if you switch this on and you go into the App Store, it'll show you popular apps based on your location that have been downloaded by people in your general area. And obviously, using this, it would use your GPS to determine your location, and this would use quite a bit of battery life as well. So that's definitely one worth switching off if you don't need anything like that. Setting time zone next. Now, what that does is, if you have this switched on, and this is a real biggie for battery life, it'll basically have the GPS running all the time on your phone, so that the phone can determine what location you're at and set the time accordingly. So say you were going for a long flight and you were flying from, say, the UK to Australia, having this switched on, it would ensure that your phone was showing the correct time at all points of your journey. But the downside of that is your GPS is running all the time, and it would absolutely eat into your battery. So that's definitely one to have switched off as well if you don't need it. Traffic. This is used, as far as I can gather, by the Apple Maps app. Now, if you're using turn-by-turn locations, it'll gather information from other people nearby, and if you're in standing traffic, it can give you information that there's traffic jams in there, in that area, and you can see it on your Apple Maps app. So if you find that kind of thing useful, you can switch traffic on. If you don't, you can do what I've done, just switch it off. Wi-Fi networking. Now, this uses, I think, a combination of your Wi-Fi network IP address and GPS on your phone to determine your location. And again, if it's using GPS, it would impact your battery life. So if you don't need anything like that, you can just leave it switched off. And as you can see, I've got all of these switched off in this section. Now, the last one is called frequent locations. Now, this is another new feature that's been added into this section with iOS 7. Now, if we touch that and we were then to switch it on, this would then allow the iPhone to learn places that we frequently visit, and it would provide useful location related information. So again, this would probably use GPS all the time, and it would impact the battery quite a lot. So this is another one that would be worth switching off if you didn't actually need anything like this. So as you can see, there's quite a few settings in this system services section that can impact your battery life, so it's worth having a look through these if you are experiencing high battery use, and you probably would probably be able to eke out a bit more battery life. Now, the very bottom section, you can see status bar icon. Now, the little paper airplane symbol that I was mentioning earlier, having this status bar icon set and switched on will ensure that you can see that little symbol up at the top right of your screen, so you can immediately see at a glance if you've got some application that's using GPS. I think that's covered about all for that section. Other information I would say regarding battery life as well is if you were to perhaps leave your phone to run flat once a month till it totally went flat, this calibrates your battery. Now, a lot of people disagree with this, but this is information that's come direct off Apple's website. It helps the electrons in your battery. So I would advise once a month running your phone till it runs till the point where it switches itself off, and then fully charge it back up. And this calibrates the battery, and I definitely find that this helps as well sometimes if you're experiencing battery life. A friend of mine was having battery issues, and I advised him to use this to do that, and his battery life was much better after doing so. So that's another thing worth considering as well. But I think that's about all for this video guide. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.